Welcome to the first ever episode of the Fantasy Flourish. I am your host, Ben Hossler. I am joined by my good friend, Matt Kittelberger. Matt, the people know me. I am, as you guys know, I've been a fantasy sports content creator for really like the last 5 years. Matt, unlike me, has a real job. He's actually, a good member of society. He doesn't sit around and just bet on sports all day. He actually does something productive. So the people don't know you, Matt. So I'm going to bring you in, but this is a new podcast. If you guys haven't seen, we're going to be doing this every week. A lot of sports betting talk, a lot of season-long fantasy football talk. But I think it's right that we started out with this episode. This took a little bit longer to get rolling than we wanted, but with how much we research March Madness, with how anticipated this is between us each year, I think it's right that this is the first episode. So, Matt, how you doing? And you can just introduce yourself to the people a little bit before we get rolling here.
Yeah, good, man. Like I said, we love college basketball. We love March Madness. We do this every year, so might as well just bring us a podcast to talk about it. Yeah, I'm not like you, where I sit around and just bet on sports all day. I love sports, played sports, but yeah, just excited to do what we do 24/7 with talking to each other about anything and everything, and just put it out for the world to enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point. Like, we're doing this anyways, so we might as well include the people on this, bring them in. Um, we could talk more about what's to come on the show. Like, we're going to have some guests on, and there's a lot to cover here in the future episodes. But since this is kind of like a time constraint thing, we want to get this out. We want to get the people rolling here with the March Madness talk. So we'll kind of roll in. We're going to go through the bracket. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the bracket on the screen. If you're listening to it later, you can kind of just follow along. I don't know. If you're like me, I've literally memorized the entire bracket by now, so I already know like who's playing who. But we'll kind of get rolling. So before we jump into the games, I think it's important to talk about the strategy a little bit. I've done this in the past videos years ago when we talked about March Madness, but I think it's important to know what kind of contests you're playing in and what it rewards. So there's some contests that rewards, upsets more than others. So you need to pay attention to the settings. And then I think it's also important to know how many people and how many brackets you can put into your contest, because I think that all comes down to the strategy of it. I like to play in like the smaller ones, like 500 or less people, and I would prefer 1 to 3 brackets. Are the ones that I target. Like the strategy for that is going to be a lot different than if you're playing in one that has 100,000 people in it. And you have to come in first to win like a big prize. So I think it's important to know that. Matt, I assume you agree with that, correct? Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So
Especially if you get in your homer leagues. It's
yeah,
easy
yeah. So
to go against a lot of the chalk.
Matt and I are located in Ohio, as you guys know. So we tons of Ohio State homers around here. So it's always good to fade Ohio State in our bracket leagues. But we can jump in. We're gonna go region by region, and we can start off in the West here. I guess my question to you: do you see anyone here? We'll go through the games individually, but do you see anyone just off the top that is gonna give Gonzaga any trouble here?
I mean, I'm the biggest Duke fan that you'll find. Duke should. They beat them earlier in the year in November, but Duke recently, I don't know. They sort of fit that Duke mo where people think they're soft. I mean, I think they're one of, if not the most talented team in the country, and they very well could rip off a national title run. It's tough to fade the Coach K final year narrative, but recently, I mean, I can't back them. But other than them, I mean, nobody really gives Gonzaga fits, I don't think. I mean, like we'll talk about Boise State and Memphis maybe in that round too, but um, maybe Texas Tech as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm sort of stretching it there.
Yeah, I agree. I think they set this up pretty well for the Zags to just roll to the Final Four, and that's kind of what they do. I mean, like we talk about, maybe not we, but just people in general will talk about Gonzaga never winning a title. But I mean, last year they lost in the title game kind of just ran out of. I don't know, man. I still think they were the best team last year, and I think if they play that game against Baylor, a 7-game series, I think they definitely win. But I don't know. They just didn't have it in that game. But they do tend to go deep in the tournament even when they do lose. So I do think they set it up well. But we don't need to talk about them. The first game we'll talk about Boise State, Memphis. I think you and I both are on Boise State here. I don't know, like off the top. I'm not gonna pretend I've watched Boise State any. Memphis I have seen a couple times, but I know they've had a lot going on. Obviously, Bates left the program. They closed the year pretty strong, but for me, like just looking at the numbers, like we were talking about, what is it? I don't know. 64, 65% of people picking Memphis to win this game. I think it's probably a lot closer than that, so I'll probably just take Boise State and fade the majority. They're taking Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Memphis is better, but like you said, you got to look at who they're playing in round two. I do think both of these teams could probably give Gonzaga a little bit more than they would want. I mean, the game's in Portland, so it's close for Boise. They're on the West Coast anyway, so it's like Memphis traveling.
To me, like they're kind of opposites. Like we know Memphis plays fast, and it looks like, at least like tempo-wise and stuff, Boise State does not want to play fast. So that'll be probably an interesting dynamic of who controls the pace of the game.
Yeah, and just looking at Memphis, they're fifth in offensive rebounding percentage, and Boise's defense is fifth in offensive rebounding percentage allowed. So interesting to see how that'll go. But yeah, just for percentage picks, since Gonzaga is likely going to beat both teams, I think you got to take the underdog here just to expose yourself to a couple extra points in that first round.
Yeah, I agree. UConn, New Mexico State. I'm not a big believer in like you have to have a 12 over a 5. We were talking about this before the pod, but I think it's better to fade upsets early and focus on them late. I think when you talk about upsets and when you're making your bracket, a lot of people think of like the deeper seeds in terms of an upset, but an upset late can be like UCLA over Baylor or something, like a 4 seed over a 1. Like that's an upset. You're not getting that many points by picking these early ones unless you randomly hit one that goes to the Final Four or something. So I don't think you need to have a ton of early upsets. I'll probably just roll with UConn here.
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing in this game that stands out to me that would make me think, yeah, I got to take New Mexico State here.
Yeah, it's not super 20%, around 20% picking New Mexico State. I don't know. I'll just take UConn. The next one though, Arkansas Vermont. This is really like one of the few early round upsets I do like. Our one analyst at Bet Karma, Dom, who does college basketball, he kind of just completely disagreed with me and told me that Arkansas should be 15.5-point favorites. I don't see that. I like Vermont here. I don't like this Arkansas team a lot. They rely on forcing a lot of turnovers. Vermont does not turn the ball over. They're really efficient. They play the 5-out offense. They can shoot the ball a little bit. So I actually like that for an upset. I'm gonna take Vermont. Around 17% picked right now, so not crazy trendy.
Yeah, I mean I have Vermont too right now, but I don't know. As people see in this bracket, like we don't like this bracket a whole lot.
Yeah.
Not just the West, just the entire thing in general. So I'm sure I'll go back and forth between Arkansas and Vermont at least 10 or 12 times before I have to lock this in on Thursday. But yeah, I mean, I can see both sides of the coin here. I really don't have any issue with either team.
It's tough. That's one of the few upsets that stuck out to me. The next game, Bama, and then we don't know who they're playing yet. That game will happen. I don't know if that's tomorrow or Wednesday. I haven't looked at the schedule, but I think it's Wednesday. But I think, I don't know. I'm not huge on this Alabama team. I obviously like Oates as a coach, but I just don't love the personnel he has this year. They don't shoot the ball very well, so I'm kind of torn on this game. This is a game that I haven't decided on yet. If they get Notre Dame, I could see taking Notre Dame as an upset, but I think either team will most likely lose to Texas Tech the round after, regardless.
Yeah, I mean, they do have two good guards. They have Quinterly. I liked Quinterly a lot last year. I still like him now. But yeah, I mean, they're 31% from three, which is bottom 50 teams in the country. But they are ninth in 2-point field goal percentage. They're 14th in offensive efficiency, 12th in offensive rebounding percentage. So, yeah, I guess if they have a cold night from the floor, then that could spell an upset for them. But yeah, at least for right now, I have Alabama.
Yeah. Texas Tech, Montana State. I don't think we need to talk much about this one. Not that Texas Tech is like a world beater, but I mean, literally number one ranked defense in the country. Tough for me to expect them to get upset in that first game.
Yeah, I mean, let's just looking at Montana State. I mean, they're 150th in offense, so they're like right around middle of the pack in the country against the number one defense. I mean, Texas Tech, they've played Baylor, Kansas, Texas. I mean, just battle-tested experience too. So that's a big thing in March that we look at. So yeah, I mean, nothing. Texas Tech easily for me here.
Yeah. One thing I think that's important if you're gonna pick some of these lower seeds to win. Typically when a real low seed does pull a first round upset or wins 2 games or something, they typically do one thing at least really, really well. So you can normally go on KenPom and you can see like, okay, they're top, 15 in offense or top, 10 in defense. Like, they're typically at least really good at one thing. So that's something that we'll be targeting, like if we're gonna, pick an upset. But agree there, Duke. I don't think we really need to talk. Oh, I skipped a game, didn't I? Michigan State, Davidson. This is a 50-50 game in terms of what's been being picked, I think. Let me see.
No, it's chance 63% for Michigan
State.
State.
60-40. So. Michigan State's favored by, what, 1.5, I think the last time I looked. I mean, the committee set this up because they want Duke and Michigan State to play. I would be comfortable taking the lower pick Davidson, though, just because I think Duke probably will beat both teams.
Duke should beat both teams, that's for sure. But you never know what Duke team you're going to get. But no, I agree. Trying to find Michigan State here on KenPom really quick. I mean, they're 40th overall. I mean, Davidson's 11th in the country in offense. They're like right in the middle of the pack on defense, but they're 8th in 3-point percentage, 54% from 2, 76% from the line. They don't turn the ball over. They're 15th in the country in turnover percentage. So, I mean, they could come out and get hot and bury Michigan State, but I mean, Michigan State is 38% from 3 as well. So, like Ben said, I think since both teams are likely going to lose to Duke, this is 1-2 that you could take.
Yeah,
the less chalky
11th in offense is good enough to sell me that like they're good at one thing, Whereas I don't think Michigan State is really, really good at one specific thing. The higher seed. Duke, I don't think we need to talk about it. They have lost to a 15 before though.
Yes, shout out CJ McCollum, Stark County, Ohio, baby.
That did happen, but I think they'll win this one. I think they'll probably win 2. So I think the marquee matchup here, we can just skip. We'll talk about Sweet 16 a little bit. Duke, Texas Tech. There is over 30% pick in Texas Tech in that matchup. I think definitely just with how Duke, like how they've struggled, like you could see them struggling against a really good defensive team. For sure. So you could sell me on the Texas Tech upset there. And I think, like we talked about, Gonzaga's coming out of this region. So now we're a little bit deeper in, it's a little bit more points that you would be gaining over the field, with 50-60 taking Duke there. But I think they could definitely lose to Texas Tech.
Yeah, I definitely can see that as well. I mean, they didn't shoot it particularly well when they played Virginia Tech. I mean, they were 20% from 3. I don't think they shot it very well in the Syracuse game either. I mean, 34%, but they had wide open look after wide open look. So I don't know, that just to me, watching their last couple games, the last couple weeks, I mean, they just haven't looked like they should. And with Texas Tech being as good as they are defensively, I mean, it's just Duke
Tech
didn't
has
score
some
the ball that
quality
night.
wins, man. I mean, they beat Baylor, they beat Kansas. I think they could.
Texas on the road. I mean, yeah, they beaten Baylor twice.
Yeah,
beat Texas twice. We did lose to Kansas at double overtime in Kansas. I mean, yeah, they lost to Providence, Gonzaga, Iowa State, Kansas. I mean, they've played some good teams. That's for sure.
Yeah. Tech versus Gonzaga, though, I mean, there's just no way Tech would be able to score with them. I don't think, like, any way at all.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, Gonzaga is the number one offense in the country, and they're also the number 7 defense in the country. And I feel like they've played a tougher schedule than they usually do. I mean, Texas early on, UCLA, Duke, Texas Tech. I mean, they did play each other early in the year. Neutral site in December that Gonzaga won by 14. I mean, St. Mary's is in the tournament. They're 16th in KenPom. San Francisco is 21st in KenPom. They're in the tournament.
Yeah,
and they just
WCC was actually pretty decent this year.
Yeah, they had some good teams for sure. But yeah, I just think at the end of the day, Gonzaga is probably too much. And I know they're the chalky pick for the national title. They have to win one at some point. But yeah, I just don't think coming out of this region that there's anybody that's really going to push them.
Yep, I agree. We can move down to the east. I know you like this region a lot here. We can kind of dive in, but coming into the tournament, Baylor is a team that I wanted to be lower on. But I don't know. I really can't sell myself on any of these teams down here. I think UCLA is very interesting. You and I have talked about them a lot the last day here. Metrics wise, look really good. Obviously, they have the experience. It's basically the same team that was there last year. But yeah, I mean, I think they're a threat. Kentucky just has kind of faded as the year's gone on, right? I think Kentucky's good to win a couple games here, but they could run into some trouble against Purdue. And then Purdue, I just don't think defensively can make a deep run. I think they're good, maybe Sweet 16, Elite 8, but I think that they would probably, like, it's just going to turn them in at some point, right? Like, their defensive problems are just going to create some sort of issue, I think, even though I like Purdue. But what are your thoughts on the East region?
Yeah, I mean, so after Duke and Kentucky played that first week in the country, I think I texted you and said Kentucky's probably going to win the national title. It's a different Kentucky team. I mean, Shibwe is, in my opinion, the most valuable player in the country, and he's an animal. And it's not, like I said, not your typical Kentucky team where it's all freshmen. I mean, it's all juniors and seniors and one freshman guard. It's all JUCO guys that have transferred in, or not JUCO, but sorry, talking college baseball there. But yeah, it's just not your typical Kentucky team. Baylor, I mean, I want to love Baylor, and I sort of do, but I sort of don't. I don't know. It's weird. UCLA, I think, is underappreciated. Texas, I know you're not as high on. I like Texas. Virginia Tech's hot, winning the ACC. I mean, Purdue can. I do think that they could beat anybody in the country. It's just like their defense is a question mark. I mean, there's just a lot of teams here. Like St. Mary's beat Gonzaga. San Fran's played a tough schedule, like playing St. Mary's and Gonzaga all year. I don't know. I mean, there's just so many different ways, and who knows what you're going to get out of North Carolina. Like, they could beat Baylor too. So this one, I think you could go a lot of different ways, and I wouldn't argue with majority of them.
Yeah, I will caution by saying like last year, like metrics wise, like Baylor was a sell relative to their seeding last year as well, and they won the national title. So it's not that they can't do it, but they're not as healthy as they were last year. Um, so I just think I'm gonna stick with that and be a little bit lower on them. I think they're the worst one seed of all the one seeds. So I think I'm comfortable not picking them to the Final Four. But it's just gonna come down to what other one of these teams we can sell ourselves on. So we'll start with that next game, North Carolina Marquette. I mean, I like North Carolina, but if I don't know, I mean, if they lost, very similar to Duke, like what team are you gonna get, right? Because they looked really good down the stretch, and then kind of fell apart against Vatek in that semifinal. But I don't know, I could see them winning a couple games. I could see them losing that first round.
Yeah, just that Virginia Tech game. I just pulled up the box score. I mean, they were 3 of 26 from three. So
Yeah,
like,
they couldn't
you're
buy a
not gonna win.
bucket. I don't love how they were running their offense. I don't know, it was really weird. Like it seemed like they couldn't get guys open like down low. I don't know, it was very strange.
Yeah, it's just 3 of 26 from three. Typically, isn't gonna get it done. But yeah, it's just like what team are you gonna get? I guess I don't know enough about Marquette. I I just don't think that I just don't see myself going away from North Carolina here. Just looking at the Ken Pom metrics, I mean they're somewhat similar.
Yeah, I don't think Marquette ended the season really well, but another team, they have some quality wins. And they beat Illinois, beat Providence, who we don't really like Providence. I think most people that follow college basketball and or any believers in any metrics at all know Providence is kind of a fraud, like big team, but they did beat them, and I think they beat Villanova twice, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
Yeah, so I mean
They did.
Marquette has some good wins. And this is an important thing because I could see Baylor losing that second round, so that's probably going to that's going to have to be something that we figure out. But I don't know. My initial lean was to take North Carolina.
Yeah, that's what I did too. But I think this is a game that I could flip back and forth. And this could also be like if we end up liking Baylor more than we do right now, maybe take Marquette because they're getting picked at 34%. And if they beat North Carolina, then you get some bonus points there picking against the field.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
yeah, I mean, for now, I think it's North Carolina.
Yep, most definitely. Again, we get the 12-5 here. St. Mary's don't know who they're playing yet between Indiana and Wyoming. This is another example where people want to stuff that 12-5 in, but I think St. Mary's is a good team. I mean, they just beat Gonzaga a week and a half ago, whatever it was. They've played a tougher schedule all year. It's not like it's being picked very high, only 22% for whoever they're playing, but just take St. Mary's. I don't think you need to overthink that.
Yeah, I'm looking at Wyoming because I had seen some stuff on them a couple of weeks ago. I mean, they started the season 21-3, but they've lost. I mean, their record now is 25-8. So what does that 4-5 in their last 9? Now granted, I mean, 3 losses are to tournament teams in Colorado State and North or San Diego State and Boise State, but um, yeah, just something to think about. But yeah, I just don't. I think St. Mary's in this one pretty easily for me. Like you said, people try to stuff in those cute 5-12 matchups, but this is one that I don't know. I just don't see it in Indiana. I mean, I don't think that they're that good.
Yeah, I agree. UCLA Akron, I think we're both easily taking UCLA here. I don't know, man. Again, this is a team I kind of wanted to be a little bit lower on them, but their metrics all check the box. They're very experienced. It's the same team basically that made that Final Four run last year. They don't turn the ball over. They shoot the ball decent. Um, yeah, I like UCLA obviously to win this game, but I think they could definitely make some noise in the region for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, they're experienced team. And then also like they're 8th in continuity too. You pointed that out to me last night when looking at these, but I think that's big. Experience, like I said earlier, experience is something that we both look for when it comes to March. Yeah, I know they just lost to Arizona, and Arizona didn't have their point guard, but I mean, they've played some tough teams. I mean, Arizona, Gonzaga, Villanova, USC twice. They won both those games. So
Yeah, they went 8-2 in their
yeah,
last 10. So coming in playing pretty well outside of that conference title game. But
yeah, I mean, this game's easy for me at UCLA. It's just right now I have them in the Final Four. But again, this region is the Wild West for me. So
yeah, Texas Vatech. So I knew this was going to be kind of like a chalkier upset pick here, just because Vatech's coming in super hot. They won the ACC, got rewarded with that 11 seed. They're being picked over 50%, so they're actually the favorite in terms of what's being picked. I like them. I like the way that they play. Um, I don't know. I'm not sold on Texas, but I don't know. I think this is a really close game, and I don't know. I think whoever wins this most likely loses to Purdue, but given how bad Purdue is defensively, they definitely could lose to the winner of this game. So I think it is an important game. I'm leaning Vatek. I think they're coming in obviously in better form. 8-2 over their last 10. Obviously won the ACC title. Texas 5-5 over their last 10. So I think I like Vatek a little bit more, but I don't know. It's close, I guess.
I mean, Virginia Tech looked really, really good in the ACC tournament last week. I mean, they looked really good against North Carolina. They looked really good against Duke. Their defense seemed better. I mean, they're 55th in the country in defensive efficiency, but like, I don't know. It just seemed like in those
way better than that,
games, yeah, I mean, yeah, they struggled with Clemson in the first round. They won by 1 in overtime and then gave up 80 points to Notre Dame, but then you hold North Carolina to 59. And then what's North Carolina? I mean, they're 27th in offense, and then you hold Duke to 67 points, and they're 7th in offense.
Yeah. I mean, VT shoots it really well, right? Top 5 in the country in three-point percentage.
Yeah.
If you look at just overall efficiency, I think they're decent as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're 18th in offensive efficiency, and they're 55th in defense. So, and yeah, like you said, they've lost twice since January 29th. I mean, they were 10-10 going into their game on January 29th, and now they're 23-12, and they've had some big wins the last week with Duke, North Carolina. So right now, I have this as Virginia Tech. I do like Texas, but they've struggled, like you said, the last month or so. But it's not like they're struggling against bad teams. I mean, lost to Texas Tech, beat Kansas, lost to Baylor, lost to Texas Tech, lost to Baylor, lost to Kansas. And they absolutely threw that TCU game. I mean, they were up, like 20-some points?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were up 18 at the half. So, I don't know. This is one that I'm sure will change for me too a couple times.
Yeah, Purdue, Yale. Don't think you need to overthink that. I think you're taking Purdue. The next one though, Murray State and San Fran. This is a good game. You and I both like San Fran. San Fran seems like a really good pick here for an upset, and they're only being picked at 30%. I thought this was going to be a trendier one, but it seems like people like Murray State. Obviously, they'll see the 30-2 there next to name. They've already got 30 wins. Didn't lose a conference game, 18-0. But we both like San Fran, I think here. Yeah.
Yeah, I do, and I don't know how much to trust like Ken Palm's projections, but he has Murray State losing this game by 1 point to San Fran. But I mean, San Fran's 19th in the country in defense, and it's not like they won their conference tournament and got into the tournament. Like Gonzaga won their conference tournament. They're an at-large bid, so it's not like they're a slouch of a team. And I mean, they're both relatively similar on offense. San Fran does have about a year's worth of experience on Murray State, which again is something that I've said before is we like the experienced teams. So yeah, and I just think like Ben's saying, 29% picking San Fran when most likely Kentucky's going to win that second round game. This could be another one where you could get an edge on the other people in your pool.
Yep. Kentucky again. I don't think you need to overthink that. I think that they'll probably take care of San Fran as well in that second game. So for Sweet 16, I would be looking at, for me, UCLA, the winner of whoever you decide between Baylor and whoever they play, and then Purdue and Kentucky, I think, for me. So kind of chalky, but I like UCLA to probably be, even if they play Baylor, I think I would have them in the Elite Eight from this region. So I think you're deciding between Purdue and Kentucky versus UCLA for me as of right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I said Kentucky from the jump this year after watching that Duke game, but I don't know.
It's like they look much better when you watch them than they do on paper. I mean, not that they're bad on paper, but it's not as good as you would think.
Yeah, and just like with Purdue, I mean, they're fourth in effective field goal percentage. They shoot 39% from three, 56% from two. I mean, they have Trevion Williams, who is huge, and they also have somebody that's 7'4". He
Yeah,
doesn't move like he's
the
7'4". He actually
only problem with them is that their coach is just an idiot. Like, I mean, truly, just terrible coaching. Won't play Williams and Edie next to each other, which I don't understand. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. They should be so good, and they can be, but I don't think they can win the title given how bad they are defensively. But I think they could beat Kentucky. I think that would be a fun real life game to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they have one of my favorite players in the country, Jaden Ivy. I mean, he is electric to watch. And I mean, he is somebody that like could will them to a Final Four, right? I mean, I know I said Shibwe is like the MVP, but Ivy might be like one of the top three most talented guys in the country, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we also have the narrative. So we love narratives on the show, obviously. So the narrative that Sheboy's mom is coming over here to watch him for the first time ever. She's never seen him play basketball in person or something like that. Yeah, so we like that. That's a tough
Yeah, I mean,
one.
if you think
That's a tough one.
you think Coach Cal unlocked him, man,
Yeah,
imagine what his mom's gonna
wait
do.
till his mom's in the stands, dude. It's
Might go
curtains.
for 30-30.
Yeah. That's tough. This is a really tough region. It's wide open. I think the East and the South, which we're going to talk about next, are both just completely wide open. So I can't like give you guys a firm lean right now. I liked just off first instance last night and this morning. I liked UCLA. I think Matt said earlier he has UCLA in the Final Four here right now, but that's subject to change. You can go get in our Discord. If you go to Bet Karma, you can get in the Discord and ask me later this week who I like. Because I just don't know. Right now, I lean UCLA. I don't know. Is that where you're at too?
Yeah, but like I like any of those top four seeds really. I mean, if I had to rank them right now, it'd probably be UCLA, Kentucky, Baylor, Purdue. But I think you could probably argue with me on switching Kentucky and Baylor. So at least maybe for me, it could be whoever wins that Baylor UCLA matchup.
Yeah, it's wide open. So let's move over to the South, another wide open region. I don't understand how all of these teams got put in the same region. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, I think Houston's significantly better than a 5. I think you can make the case for Tennessee being a 2 based off what they did in the SEC tournament. And then you have obviously Arizona, Villanova, and even Illinois, who I don't like as much, but I mean, that's a solid 4 seed right there. I think this is just a stacked region. So what's just your thoughts overall on the South region?
EJ Liddell and Ohio State.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna have any of that.
Yeah, I mean, I've hated Ohio State since they had Jared Sullinger, and he got bullied by Josh Harrelson when they should have walked to a national title. But no, Ohio State's bad. Michigan shouldn't be in the tournament. But outside of that, yeah, Arizona, I think Houston's criminally underseeded at a 5. Like Ken Pom has them at 4th in the country in efficiency. I don't know. It's tough. The one thing with Arizona, and I don't know if like you have the power to pull up that tweet that I sent you of Arizona's point guard's ankle.
Yeah, dude, that looked gross
on the screen.
That looked
terrible. I don't think that they're going to need him in the first or second round. So, I mean, he's got a couple extra days too. So call it 2 weeks to get healthy. But like, I don't know, man, that looked nasty. They did beat UCLA without him. So I don't know if they could get through the entire tournament. But I mean, Arizona has been really good all year. Houston, like I said, Houston's underrated. Illinois was hurt all year. I like Illinois. Tennessee's hot. Villanova's really good too. So this one, again, like I think is even deeper than the East regions. I think you could make a case for 5 teams to win this.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. All right, so we'll skip the Arizona game. It's obvious. Seton Hall TCU. I think you and I both like Seton Hall here. They're actually being picked at a lesser percentage than TCU. TCU is 54 to 46. I'm just gonna take Seton Hall there personally.
Yeah, I think I am too. Weren't they in like the top 15 or something like early on?
Yeah, I do think they started out.
I remember
decently ranked. Yes.
Yeah, I mean they started out 9-1. I mean, they beat Michigan early. They beat Ohio. They lost to Ohio State by 3. They beat Texas and then lost to Providence, Villanova. I mean, their only really bad loss is DePaul. Also lost to St. John's, but I mean, other than that, they lost to Marquette twice, Connecticut twice, Villanova once. So it's not like their losses have been like, oh my gosh, they've lost to some terrible teams. But yeah, I mean, even with the lesser percentage, I don't think anybody's going to beat Arizona, either Seton Hall or TCU. So I think this is another one where you could take the lesser percentage team.
Yeah. Houston UAB. I like UAB. I like Jelly Walker. I think he's fun to watch. I have some technical difficulties showing this side of the bracket, so I'm trying to fix this. But you and I both kind of like Houston for so they had some basically their 2 best players get hurt early on in the year, and they've still survived. It seems like they always kind of just grind it out and win. They did this last year when they went to the Final Four. Obviously, they were healthier, but I mean, metrically, they look pretty good across the board. They don't shoot free throws well. That's really like the only negative. But yeah, I like Houston obviously to win this game, and I think they can make a run as well.
Yeah, I agree. Now, are both of their guys that were hurt, are they back?
From my understanding, they're both not playing.
Okay. Yeah, so Marcus Sasser hasn't completely ruled out returning to play in the NCAA tournament. And he's one of their top 3 guys. So I guess, yeah, that hurts. But, I mean, they haven't had him for how long? So, I don't know. And they've just kept winning.
Yeah. No, yeah, it just seems like I was talking to some people
Sad.
about it today, but they just seem to get it done. Like I don't know, it doesn't like it's not even matter. Like it didn't even affect their numbers really. And I know they had a couple games down the
Yeah, and
stretch
I
that they
mean,
lost, but dude, I mean, look at what they did. In their conference championship, they just rolled them. Like it wasn't even close.
yeah, I mean, with UAB, I mean they're ninth in threes, but Houston's 11th in defending threes. So I mean, I guess that they could get hot and win it.
I mean, they have Jelly Walker can take the game over. Like they have the guy that can just will them to a win. He literally will drop 40. But I just think Houston's too good.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody needs a 12-5, I guess I could see like UAB of all the ones, UAB, but I love Houston too. So that's tough to say. I have Houston, but I'm sure I'll have a bracket or two with UAB.
All right, Illinois Chattanooga. I don't know, man. It's not trendy, 14%, but I've seen some chatter about Chattanooga over Illinois. I'm not a huge Illinois fan. I'm just not a huge Big Ten fan this year in general. Obviously they have the size, but I don't know. I'm not opposed to a little upset here. I'm not saying I'm gonna pick it, but I'm not opposed to it. I have Illinois in my current bracket, but if someone was really like they really wanted Chattanooga here, and they could probably sell me on it because I'm likely gonna take Houston regardless here. So
Yeah, so Illinois is a little bit different than the other Big Ten teams. I mean, they're 30th in defense. So to be 30th in defense and seeing offenses as efficient as Purdue, Iowa, even Ohio State too. I mean, Ohio State's 13th in offense. Iowa's second, and Purdue's third. So to be the 30th ranked defense, seeing those guys a couple times this year, I mean that says something. And they also had some injuries as well, if I remember correctly. This was our title pick last year. We kind of got burned by them, but yeah, it's like this 12 and 13. So UAB and Chattanooga, like if these were like any other matchups, I mean, I don't think I would have any issue with taking. I don't have any issue taking them now, but like if they had different matchups too, these would be two of my favorite 12 and 13s. But at least for me right now, I think I like Illinois a little too much.
yeah. Next game, Colorado State, Michigan. Michigan, complete joke that they're even in the tournament, in my opinion. They're getting picked 53% of the time. They are favored in this game. I like them to win this game. Typically I would be fading this because I would be like, there's an 11 versus 6, and 50+% are picking the 11. Like I'm just gonna take the 6, but I like Michigan to win this game. And we were kind of talking about it. The fact that Michigan shouldn't even be in this tournament tells me they're winning a game. Like that's just how things work out. Like all people have been talking about the last 24 hours is that they can't believe Michigan got in this tournament, and so they're 100% going to win a game.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it either way, but like you said, there's another narrative too. Like shouldn't be in. They got the fight of Juwan Howard in them too. And it's just Hunter Dickinson is such a matchup nightmare. I mean, the biggest guy that Colorado State has is 6'10", and like I don't even know how much he plays. I mean, like 20 minutes a game, maybe even less than that. So I just don't know if they have anybody that can guard Hunter Dickinson.
Yeah, I like Michigan here. Tennessee Longwood. I mean, incredible name here for Longwood, but don't really think I don't think I'm gonna take an upset there, like Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I didn't even look at this game, so I don't even know. Like,
I don't know a thing about Longwood.
Okay, Longwood's 115th in offense and 191 in defense. That's all I really need to see. They are 6th in the country in 3-point percentage. So I guess they could catch fire and beat them, but I don't see that.
Yeah.
Tennessee easily for me.
Yeah. Ohio State, Loyola Chicago. This is a good game. I mean, we love to fade Ohio State here. Loyola Chicago once again has Sister Jean gonna be at these games. Like, I just can't even believe. Like, power to her that she's still alive. Like, shout out to her. Tough to fade that narrative. I don't think Ohio State's good. I mean, I think offensively they're good. I think they're gonna be healthy. They're gonna be as healthy as they've been in a while for this game. But they're really, really bad defensively.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they can score. I mean, that's for sure. But again, this is another one where, we're not just fading Ohio State because we don't like Ohio State. I do think that Loyola Chicago is better than Ohio State. They're, 16th in the country in 3-point percentage, 15th in 2-point percentage, 7th in effective field goal percentage. So, they can score it too. And their defense is 22nd. And they've won some tournament games recently. I know it's a new coach, but then again, if you look at the next matchup, it's Villanova, and we talked about Villanova a lot tonight before we hopped on here. I just don't see either Ohio State or Loyola beating Villanova. So since it is like 50-50, I guess it's one that you want to go with whoever you think is going to win, since it is a true pick 'em, because it's likely that Villanova will beat them in the next round.
Yeah, so we can move to that game. I wasn't on Villanova a ton coming into this, but they look good on paper. They're just outside the top 20 in defense. They're inside the top 20 in offense. They have the veteran guards that we kind of look for. Gillespie's been at the school. I literally think he's played for Villanova since we left high school. So this guy has been there forever. They shoot the three decent. They don't turn the ball over. So I've kind of I don't know how far I want to take them, but I definitely am more interested in Villanova now than I was 48 hours ago.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm looking up how long Colin Gillespie's been there because he's like the new Peyton Siva.
Yeah, I think
Imperialis.
I think it's 5-6 years, man. It might be 6.
His first year there, 2017, 2018. So I guess really not that long. Huh. Anyway, yeah, just looking at Villanova, like you said, they're first in free throw percentage. They don't turn the ball over. They shoot it okay, but they are an experienced team. They have the 10th strength of schedule in the country. They've played some good teams. They're 38th in team continuity. They're experienced. Just your typical Villanova team, right?
Yeah, and they're well coached, for sure. So let's talk quickly. We'll go like Elite Eight here. This is gonna be a bloodbath. Arizona, Houston, Tennessee, Villanova. If you want to put Illinois in there as well, can go either way here. I know you really like Arizona. Metrically, Arizona looks really good. On paper, I like Villanova. I like Houston. These two regions, the last one we talked about in this one, I just don't have a firm decision here. Right now, my lean is Villanova, but definitely could change.
Yeah, I'm gonna be looking out for some more information on Arizona's point guard. I don't even know how to say his last name. Is it just like Kerr Krisa? I don't even know how to say his name, but
yeah, that's definitely a factor for sure. For sure.
Yeah, like if they think he's gonna play by the second weekend, then I like Arizona a lot. If Houston doesn't have those guys, and Illinois is healthy. Like I do like Illinois. I know the metrics love Houston, and they just blew the doors off of Memphis. Tennessee is hot. Villanova is just a solid team. I mean, I don't know. This is one that is going to take a couple extra thoughts to finalize this region, but right now I have Arizona coming out of this region. I don't know. I like them a lot. They got rid of the curse of Sean Miller, which is
that's big.
a massive
Big
positive.
factor. That's a
How many
big
times
factor.
have we been burned by Arizona? And when we started talking about this a couple weeks ago, we looked at Arizona and we're like, dude, we can't pick them. And then we figured out Sean Miller was gone. So that turns back on to Arizona. But yeah, for right now, I don't know. It's super tough. And Tennessee, like if we're talking about fading coaches, like we can fade. I just blanked. Who's there? Rick Barnes. He's burned me when he was at Texas.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
Rick Barnes
I don't know.
fans.
It's no, but like I said, yeah. Right now for me, Arizona.
All right, we'll finish out here with the Midwest, and then we'll talk about the Final Four, and then get out of here. Kansas. Don't think you need to overthink that game in specific. Before we go game by game, who do you think gives Kansas the biggest trouble here? Because I want to be like Auburn was on my list of like 3-4 teams I wanted to be lower on coming into the tournament. They do get a good draw here. I hate Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin stinks relative to what other people think of them. So they have a favorable lower half of this region, but I think Kansas is a solid team, but you know I don't think it's a slam dunk that they make it out of this region, and I don't like Auburn, so this could be one to get a little bit weird in.
Yeah. So when the brackets first came out, you had texted me like, I think you thought Kansas had the easiest path to the Final Four. I don't know if that's the case. I think that they're probably the best team in this region. You could make a case for Auburn, but like San Diego State, if they beat Creighton, which I think they will, they can give them problems because of how good they are defensively. Iowa can also give Kansas problems because of how good they are offensively. And so, I mean, if South Dakota State beats Iowa, South Dakota State can shoot the lights out. That could be a problem for Kansas. And then if LSU gets to the Elite Eight and plays Kansas, they're super good defensively. I mean, I think Auburn could give them, so they might have the toughest road.
Yeah.
Now that I've looked at this.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably a little bit more tricky than I originally thought, but I think Iowa for sure could get them fits, and I don't think Iowa can make like a Final Four or championship run, but I do think they could upset Kansas. And that's one to talk about. I think we can go down here. I mean, South Dakota State Providence is a big game. South Dakota State, they're only being picked 25% of the time, but I do think that's one of the trendier upset picks. We might see that number rise a little bit here as we head into Tuesday. I don't think Providence is good, but I hate picking the trendy upset pick. I think both lose to Iowa, though, so I don't think it really matters what you do here. So if you want to take the upset, you can have at it.
Yeah, I mean, when we ran through this yesterday, I mean, this was the first upset that stuck out to me, and I thought that, but only 24% on South Dakota State, and I mean, they're the best shooting team in the country, and they don't turn it over. They couldn't stop our Jackson Friends Church League team, but they can score.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree.
But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, I think it's pretty straight up.
LSU, Iowa State. I like LSU here. And what I think is interesting, so I don't know. I hate Wisconsin. They're my least favorite team in college basketball. I don't think they're very good. I don't think they're as good as like a 3 seed typically. But regardless, they get a home game in Milwaukee. They're probably going to win that first game. What my issue is here, there's like a big SEC bias, I feel like, in general when it comes to these basketball teams. Like, people like the SEC. No one likes LSU. Um, they're being picked under 20% of the time against Wisconsin. I think they could beat Wisconsin.
Yeah, and they definitely can beat Wisconsin. So Wisconsin doesn't turn the ball over, but LSU is second in the country in turnover percentage forced. So interesting to see how that'll play out. But yeah, I don't know. Wisconsin's interesting, but something about LSU, like every time that I've hopped on to Ken Palm over the last month or so, just has drawn me to LSU. I mean, they started 15-1. I only really have, other than that, TCU, who's in the tournament, Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Auburn. I mean, all tournament teams. But yeah, I mean, their problem is that they don't score.
Yeah. I have LSU winning 2 games, and I don't think the coach firing is that bad of a thing. It could be viewed as like a good thing, right? Like, the team could rally around that and make that a good thing. I don't think it's that negative.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like you're so far along in the season that it's just kind of like, all right, we're in March. Let's just finish what we started, right? It's not like, oh man, our coach is gone. It's not like they shouldn't be in the tournament, So I don't think that that's as big of an issue as it could be with other teams, but
Yeah.
I agree with LSU winning 2 games here. Just is about Wisconsin. I just don't particularly like Wisconsin.
Yeah, no, I'm not against the Wisconsin upset in the first round. I'll have to look into it a little bit more, but yeah, I'm not against it. SC Miami. I don't know if you have a specific lean there. I think both teams probably lose to Auburn, even though I don't love Auburn, but that's like a 50-50 game for me.
Yeah, I have SC right now. They're massive, and I think that could cause issues with a lot of teams. I think weren't they a 7 seed last year too?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually were on them to get to the Elite Eight.
Yes.
Which I think they did.
Yep, they did.
Yeah, they were a 6 seed last year, and Oregon was the 7 seed. But yeah, I mean, they did get to the Elite Eight. I know
we were heavier on the Pac-12 in general, and we weren't necessarily on UCLA, but I mean, we were just heavier on that conference, and UCLA did make that run, and we had USC, like you said. So
yeah, I mean, UCLA was an 11 seed last year, and they were playing with Michigan State. Yep. So, I mean, I would have never picked that. I don't think anybody would. But yeah, I mean, we missed on Oregon the year before. We didn't last year. I mean, I don't think we missed a game in that top left of the bracket because we had Oregon over Iowa. We had USC and Gonzaga in the Elite Eight. We had Ohio in the Sweet 16. Didn't they win 2 games?
Yeah, we were on Ohio as well, yeah.
Yeah, so I know that USC doesn't have Evan Mobley. I think they still have his brother.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. But I mean, they are massive. Like 6'9", 6'10", 6'9", 6'9". They're the fourth tallest team in the country. Not that that has a whole lot to do with it, but their 2-point field goal percentage allowed is 41.6%. So, I mean, if they're playing against a team that doesn't shoot the three very well, I'm going to check Miami here, but I mean, Miami's like 35% from three, but Miami doesn't really defend.
Yeah.
They're about average in defense. And I just think the size of USC is going to give them fits. And I think like USC, just anybody that they play, they could give problems to just because of how big they are.
Yeah, so Auburn's pretty big as well, right? They have Kessler, some other bigs as well. So I think that would be an interesting matchup if they did play. But as far as like Elite Eight here goes, I think this region comes down to what you want to do with Kansas and potentially Iowa, and then what you want to do with, if you think anyone can upset Auburn. I don't know. I'll definitely have some Kansas to the Final Four. I'll end up making 5 brackets. I'll definitely have one where Iowa beats them though, 1 or 2. But I do think Kansas is the best team in this region, so I'll probably have them on my main one. But we'll see. Things change.
Yeah, I agree. Like right now, I have Auburn. I've gone back and forth between them and Kansas, and I'll just have to. I mean, I'm not a big Bill Self guy, but I'm also not a big Bruce Pearl guy either. Not that the coaches make that big of an impact, but I don't know. I think Auburn and Kansas, if they play, would be a really, really good game. I mean, Okai Abaji is really good. He's probably going to win National Player of the Year. I know he won Big 12 Player of the Year, and they have David McCormick and Jalen Wilson because we were out on Kansas last year, right? Yeah, we had USC over them because they were going to have guys out, but I mean they have all those guys back this year, and they're somewhat experienced. And
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I mean I'll probably have both. I think brackets with both Kansas and Auburn to the Final Four. Maybe even Iowa too, but I don't know. The defense with Iowa is suspect. That I don't know if they could defend well enough against a high-powered offense like South Dakota State, and then seeing Kansas and then seeing Auburn. So like 3 games in a row where they're going to stop 3 pretty good offenses. So
yeah. We'll finish up here with some Final Four talk. Before we do, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like the video. This is a new YouTube channel that we've created, so we don't have any subscribers. So let's try and run that number up. Hit the subscribe button. We'll be posting the weekly podcasts on here in video format. Like the video as well. You can comment. All the comments are good. Comment who you think's going to win. Comment your favorite upset. And then shout out to our sponsor as well, Bet Karma. You can head over to betkarma.com. You can look up the odds comparison on all these odds for free. You can track your bets for free. So shout out to them. But I'm pulling this up now. So for right now, if you look on Yahoo, you can look up the overall percentages of what the public is picking on their brackets. 50% have Gonzaga. What is this? Is that winning? 33% have Gonzaga winning the national title. Second is Arizona, just under 16%. Third is Kansas, just under 9%. And then Duke and Kentucky round out the top 5. So basically how I would view this is if you pick Gonzaga's probably fairly close. Like I would say Gonzaga probably, without even looking at the numbers, I would assume it's mid-30s their true probability to win the tournament. So if close to that number's picking them to win your bracket pools, and I think if you're playing in these non-sharper pools and you're just playing with like a work league or something like that, like Gonzaga, I think is going to be higher than 33% in most casual people's bracket pools. So basically what happens is if you pick them and if they win, which they certainly can, but if that happens, you need the rest of your bracket to be really, really, really strong to win. Like it's going to come down to like 1 or 2 games to make or break if they win. So I'm going to be close to the field or underweight on them. If I make 5, I'll have them probably on 1. And I think that they're the clear best team, but it's just really hard. It's just really hard to win if they win. So I'm probably gonna play it like they lose in the title or lose in the Final Four or something like that on the majority of mine.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like I said earlier, they have to win one at some point, right? I like that. I don't like this team as much as their team last year. I love Chet Holmgren just because him and I look alike.
Yeah, very similar, very similar body type between you two.
Yeah, I mean maybe back in my high school days, but not anymore. I think I got him by 45 pounds now. He's listed at 195, so I am no longer 6'5", 160 pounds. But I think that, I mean, he's 7 foot, 195 pounds. He adds a element that they didn't have last year. I mean, they had good players, but they didn't have like, not that he's a takeover guy, but just like, I don't know, he just seems kind of nasty, like on the court, like he has that attitude and that swagger that they've lacked before. So yeah, I will definitely have some Gonzaga. If I had to pick right now, Arizona would be my title winner, but that's contingent on additional information on their point guard. Like if he plays, if he's supposed to be back for the second weekend, then I like that. I also could see UCLA getting to the title game. I could even see them winning the title game too.
I do feel like if they play Gonzaga, they want a little bit of revenge, right? Especially because it's the same team.
Right. I agree. I mean, like right now I have Gonzaga, UCLA, Arizona, and Auburn. With Arizona beating UCLA in the title game. But like we've said throughout this entire podcast, that I could have 12 different teams in the Final Four. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of different options. It's not like last year. It was easy. It was Gonzaga and Baylor, and who's going to win the national title. This year, I mean, you can make the case for a lot of different teams.
Yeah, I agree. So if I'm looking at this right now, to win their region, Gonzaga 64% picked, Arizona 50% picked, Kansas 47%, and Kentucky is actually the favorite down there, slightly over Baylor. It's about 32 to 31%. So lots more to come. Like I said, get in the Discord. You can ask me whatever questions you want. It's free to get in. And we'll be talking more about it. You can hit us up on Twitter as well. Like I said, like the video, subscribe. Before we head out, Matt, gun to your head. Who is going to win the national title? My pick right now. Oh, man. I truthfully don't even know. I really truthfully don't even know. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad what's happened with this bracket, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, so last year it was easy. I'm looking at the 2020 bracket. I guess there wasn't a tournament in 2020, right?
Yeah, there was one last year, and then there wasn't one the year before that, I think.
Okay, so 2019, that one was easy. That was Virginia.
Yeah, we cleaned up on that.
Yeah, we sure did.
Actually crazy.
And then the year before that, I feel like we had Virginia when they lost to UMBC, which I don't know if they replay that tournament.
I don't think we did. I think we
Did
had.
we,
I
do
think
we
we
have Villanova?
a lot of. I can't. I don't remember who we had truthfully, but I definitely remember. I mean, we might have had Virginia like to the Final Four or something. I definitely didn't have them winning because I never liked
Yeah.
picking them. But a lot of the reason we were on them the year after that is because their offense was better than it usually was, and then everyone was burned on them because they
Yeah.
just lost. Um, so I can't remember.
Yeah, but this is definitely not like years past. Um, you said you don't know. I would say Arizona right now. Um, Gonzaga is probably my number 2 team that would win it. Um, the team that like we're not really talking about that could win it. Really, I think could be Duke. I mean, they've beaten Gonzaga, and it's not my Duke homer pick. I'm anti homer picks, unbiased, but yeah, Duke has all of the pieces. They have 2 good guards. They've beaten Gonzaga. They've played a good schedule. It's just they haven't looked like they should. Um, they're probably my favorite team that we've sort of excluded from the conversation. So I would say Arizona and Gonzaga for now, and outside looking in could be Duke.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. We do appreciate it. Like I said, we're going to be doing weekly episodes. We're going to cover a variety of topics, which we will address on the next episode. Good luck in your bracket pools this year, and hopefully you guys win.